Alright guys, welcome back to the Red Goat Garage. Where I guess this might be officially like episode 1. I don't ever name my episodes, but like, you know, first real install video on the 57 Bel Air project. So what I got here was the patch panels for the floor. So there's one that I used, well, not a used one, a new one that I got off of a gentleman. And but here's the other 3. So let's go over here. Tinkering on the Cadillac too. So as you can see, lots of rust holes, yay. So my thought is I'm gonna take my angle grinder and just kind of cut out, you know, along here, and I'm actually have to fill this in somehow with some extra sheet metal, but just kind of like cut out the bottom. Then I'm gonna set that new patch panel there, and then I'll go underneath and mark it as well as I can, and then trim the patch panel to where basically kind of hopefully like somewhat butting them, the 2 pieces together. I'm going to do that in all 3 because I think back here I don't even need to replace that one. This one actually looks pretty solid. So I think it's really only these 3 that I need to do. So that's kind of my game plan. I'm not going to sit here and do this all right now, so I'm going to do some time-lapse stuff for you guys, speed it up a bit, and try to make it not such a long, boring video. Because I mean, basically, cut out the rust, welding in new sheet metal. That's really what we're going to do here. So right now, I'm going to go get the die grinder and start cutting and see what we end up with. Okay, so I got a majority of this front one cut out, but right here is a brace. So this piece is welded to this brace right here that you can see. So what I need to do is I don't have one, I gotta go buy an air chisel, and I'm gonna chisel off this piece from the bottom. I'm sure it's just like tack welded or something into place, but once I get that out, then I can start figuring out getting a new one in. Right here is a body mount bushing and bolt right there, you can see it. So I had to cut the head off the bolt because it wouldn't come loose, so I cut the head off, so I have to get a new bolt for that. But I don't want to go and start cutting these other ones yet until this one's in, just because obviously this is where the body mounts at one spot. That's a brace and everything else, so I want to wait till this one's completely like welded in and good, and then I'll go on to the next one, so that way just the body doesn't like twist or sit weirdly or anything like that. Plus I bought these like super duper cheap blades, and if it snags even a hair, these things just rip off. Like, look at this one. This one was almost brand new, and it just completely ripped off the center. So I'm gonna get an air chisel and actually get some quality cut-off blades there, cut-off wheels, whatever you want to call them. But yeah, at least there's some progress. So I'll check back in with you guys here probably in a couple days once I get further along, because I gotta run to the store. All right, so I've been working on this a little bit. So I ground down the edges here, and then I took some Rust-Oleum spray paint and spray painted the top of the frame, because once patch panels in there I won't be able to really spray that, and it was bare metal, so I might as well clean it up. Same thing with the inside of this brace. I just layered it up with some spray paint just to help protect it. I vacuumed it all out and everything first. Then on this patch panel, so the patch panel actually has a lip that goes down. That's like a right here, this little like pinch weld deal, but I didn't feel like, I don't know, taking that apart, I guess, so I ended up just cutting it off in front of this guy. So then this guy actually fits in here just like that, like pretty darn nice actually. So what I'm going to do now is go underneath with my Sharpie and mark where the original floor meets this floor, and then I'm going to trim this guy up all around here, because this side just obviously like welds together here, and this will just lay on top and weld there, and the brace underneath will weld to the bottom of this guy. So I just need to trim this up, and then we can throw some sparks. All right, there's patch panel number 1, all welded up. So you can see I didn't do like a continuous bead. I just kind of did a bunch, and I'll seam seal all that. No real point in doing a full bead. I mean, that thing's not gonna go anywhere. I do need to move my cribbing underneath and weld a little bit on the back side of that brace that's under there. You can see like here where I've welded on the brace a little bit. I'd like to get a little bit on that back side. I still have a couple little pinholes here that I need to clean and then weld up. Obviously I still have a hole here, so I gotta fix that. But for right now, like, super happy with that. Like, strong, not gonna go anywhere. I'm gonna spray paint this right now, just so that it doesn't rust on me or anything, and then I'll seam seal it, and then eventually I'll do like, I don't know, some sort of insulation or something that'll go on top of it anyways. But for right now, good enough. So here's what it looks like. Here's what it did look like. Quite the difference. I mean, look at how many freaking pinholes were in this thing. Gotta be 100 pinholes. All right, enough for the day for me, but I'm gonna do that guy and that guy next, and but I'll show you guys that too. All right, this one's all cut out. I gotta grind and trim up a few spots, but I don't know why I'm fighting the wiring, because I'm gonna replace it all anyways. But I had to trim this up a little bit over here. Kind of got some looseness, and grind all this. But you can see, like, man, these things are, that's sand from when they sandblasted the bottom of the car. But like, the braces are really good shape. Back one here. But all right, well, there's that. That's it for me for today, and we'll get the new one in here shortly. Alright, just finished primering up the driver's side just to kind of help seal it a little bit. So that one's all good to go. Passenger side's all good to go, minus the junk on top. So next step is I need to get some of this stuff out of the way, but start tackling this guy back here. You can see you got some nice big holes right there. So I'm gonna get all this stuff out of the way and kind of assess the situation, and yeah, but hey, over halfway done, right? That I still have to do like some little cleanup, like there's a couple little holes there and probably along there, and I did buy some seam sealer, so I'm gonna seal all that up, but I'll show you that later. Let me move this stuff. Okay, so I got this all cleaned up a little bit, kind of vacuumed it a little bit. You can see it's got some pretty good rust there, But I think what I'm going to end up having to do is this brace here, which is I guess where the rear seat, yeah, the rear seat actually pops in there. I think I'm going to pop that all up somehow. I got to find all the spot welds. Pop that up out of the way, then that'll give me full access to here. There is a body mount here. You can kind of see underneath here, there's a bunch of junk in it, but there's a support brace there. So I think if I pop that out and I can cut this thing out, then I should be able to have full access to cut out the actual floor and put in my patch panel. So right now I'm just going to do some exploratory cuts and grinding, kind of figure out how this panel is going to fit and how much I need to cut away to fix all this rust and just all that good stuff. Alright, so I was thinking about this thing last night. So the thing what I'm going to do is, since this brace is mainly attached to the floor except for right here, I'm going to cut out the back side down here all the way across. That side is almost all apart. Maybe just a little trimming over there, kind of like right there at the top needs a little bit, and maybe right there at the bottom. But herein lies the problem. Can't really get down there. So I got a great excuse to bust out one of my absolute favorite tools. This guy right here, my Miller Spectrum 625 Extreme Plasma Cutter. So this thing is gonna cuts through like metal like a hot knife through melted butter, especially when it's thin sheet metal like this. I think it's good for up to like a ½ inch. So this thing works awesome. I got it a few years ago. I don't get a lot of excuses to use it. But works awesome. So I'm gonna get to cutting. Alright, so we got that brace out. So now I got to figure out how to get underneath this and kind of cut that out a little bit. And I'll trim up the edge all around, get this all cleaned up. Here's what the back side of that looked like. It's definitely very rusty there. So. Huh? What about you?
I mean, just like I'll help clean it up. That's
yep, and there's my helper Max. Say hi, Max.
Hi.
It's gonna be your car someday?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna keep chipping away at this. Alright, just got that rear patch panel welded into place. I still got to do the bottom, and I still got to put this brace back here and then the brace that goes across like on that side. So still some more work to do, but getting there. Alright, check that out. Got this brace all welded in. Just did some stitch welds here and there all along the back side, this front side. There's my body mount bolt. Made sure that's fitting good. But not the prettiest welds with dealing with, what, 70-year-old or whatever it is sheet metal. It's thin and rusty. But I did spray paint the inside of this whole thing with this that Rust-Oleum primer, rusty metal primer. So all that's left is to do some welds underneath the bottom and paint it up. All right, got the bottom all welded. Threw a quick coat of primer on there, just like the fronts, and we're done. So I have a little bit more rust to do, like down here, just a couple tiny spots, especially over there on the passenger side. But like the floorboards now are probably 90% done. So that was a lot of work right there with that brace and all that. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and make sure to hit that like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.